In this week's Seder Vayigash, Paro was informed about the reunification of Yosef and his brothers. And he informs Yosef that he should instruct his brothers to take the food that they acquired in Egypt back to the land of Canaan, feed their father and their entire homes, and then return to the land of Egypt in order to be sustained during these further years of famine. And in doing so, he adds something. He says, I'm going to provide transportation. Take for yourselves wagons, for your children, for your wives, and then you will return with them and your father to the land of Egypt. But comments the Das Academy Baliatosos, he says, Paro wasn't simply providing transportation, he was providing a critical piece of information that the sons of Yaakov Avinu need bear in mind in order to make the trip for their father down to Egypt possible. Take indeed wagons for your children and for your wives. But then the pasuk says, but then explains the Das Academy Baletosos. It says, after you have taken wagons for the transportation of your children and wives, then your father, then you will hoist your father upon your shoulders, and you will bring him down to Egypt. What's pshat? They could not have possibly made the trek carrying Yaakov Avinu on their shoulders from the land of Eretz Yisrael to the land of Egypt. Way too far, way too bumpy, way too stony. And Yaakov Avinu would certainly not have been comfortable. So therefore, what I think it means is the following. In the year 2017, in a rather quaint provincial area of Immingham, England, there was a cross-country race. And towards the end of the race, a young boy, 10 years of age, by the name of Riley Watson, just as he was about 60 feet from the finish line, he suddenly was overcome with a terrific pain of a stitch. And lucky for him, a friend of his, a young boy, 10 years of age, no differently, Julian Alt, instead of running to the finish line, he stepped over to his friend Riley. He hoisted him up into his hands, and he carried him across the finish line. And this is so important, because what Paro was instructing the sons of Yaakov Avinu, via Yosef, was to realize that their father was going to be uprooted from the land of his forebears, leaving the home of Eretz Yisrael, leaving his surroundings. He finally returned from spending 22 years outside of Israel to the land of Israel, and he has to take leave of it. And he's going to come into a strange land with a strange culture and a strange language and strange priorities and strange and foreign mores. And there are times in life when it's not sufficient that we be aided and assisted and helped across the finish line. We need to be carried across the finish line. Unesasem es avichem uvasem. How fortunate for those in life that when they reach such a point during the course of their journey, that they're surrounded by their loved ones, those who are most beloved by them, and those loved ones hoist the parent or the sibling or the spouse or the child or the friend onto one's shoulders and carries him or her across the finish line. When we lay the Seder Vayigash, let's remember, all of us need help in life. How fortunate are we when we're offered another in such fashion. Have a wonderful Shabbos.